Hey all, I'm back. I'm a bit sick, but I'm here. I'm also on the iPad this week as the laptop had a hard drive meltdown. So bear with me on the new video here. Okay, so this past week we had just one game that went down to the wire while the other four were over rather early. Let's get to these games. My Snorefest game had several options actually. I just went with the Misfits 105-39 win over playoff bound. Why? Because 39 total points for a whole game. Playoff bound had 7 players score 6 or less, with the Pats D at 11 being his only double-digit contributor. The Misfits, though, continue the roll. They're now 6-1. They were led by Stafford's 29 and Vincent Jackson's 25. That's right. The Misfits needed 2 players to beat playoff bound. Well, my next painful game had my privates all over the Chiefs D, 109-67, led by co-player of the week Matt Forte's 31 points, 109 total yards, and 3 TDs for the Bears running back. Also a shout out to Eddie Lacy, who since returning from his early season concussion has averaged over 12.5 points a game and is coming on strong. The Chiefs D came into this game off an 11-player trade trying to shake things up. Well, consider them shook. The 67 points is a season low for the squad. However, the Chiefs D still sits at the top of their division at 5-2. My next game features my chump of the week. I'll get back to that in a minute. First, Team Ruxin did continue the winless wonder ways with a 101-76 win. The Wonders did have 5 players score 12 or more, but none over 20, allowing Ruxin to coast to the 25-point win. Now, speaking of Ruxin, he is my chump of the week. Ruxin announced via text message from Disneyland that he's back. Well, he is. Delusional. If he thinks A.J. Green and Calvin, yes, you overpaid Johnson, will continue to average 150 yards and 2 scores each week. Ruxin, it was 1 week. Slow your jets, bud. You continue to make bad decisions each week. This past week, the 2 running backs you played scored 1 total point. The 2 on the bench had 30. Last week, you picked up Brandon Jacobs, and they're playing the Bears. 3 guys on the defensive line on IR. What does Ruxin do? He sits Jacobs, who puts the ball in the end zone 3 times. Ruxin's bubbling ways are not new. Last year in the playoffs of the Final Four, Ruxin had RG3 in even though he wasn't playing. In a last-minute ditch effort to try and save face, he picks up Brady Quinn of the Kansas City Chiefs. That's right, Brady Quinn. What happened? A loss. Well, at least it saved you from being embarrassed in a championship game, Ruxin. It's my bet that these bad moves will end up biting Ruxin in the ass again this year. Well, Team Frank, still seeking its first win, had co-player of the week Andrew Luck, who had 31 points on 3 passing TDs and a rush TD, as he led the Colts over Peyton Manning in his return to Indianapolis Sunday night. But it wasn't enough, as Team Wilson, behind Aaron Rodgers' 26 points, and Sleeper of the Week Harry Douglas, who has stepped in for Julio Jones, had 20 points on 149 yards and a touchdown, leading Team Wilson to the 107-91 win. Okay, now my easily chosen best game of the week. Chi-Town's finest had 4 Broncos going into Sunday night's game. The result? 70 points, led by our league's early leader for MVP, Peyton Manning, 29 points. Things are getting serious for the individuals, as this 106-96 loss now puts them at 2-5 on the season, despite the efforts of Frank Gore and his 22 points, and the Panthers D with their 20. Really, the big sore has to be the number 4 overall pick, CJ Spoiler. 1 point this week for CJ. CJ is definitely a leader for our chump of the year. Well, last week's games in general were pathetic. Let's hope this week's games are better. And we have another father-son matchup, and a week after their big trade, as the finest try to squeeze out 1 more week from the Broncos scoring machine before their bye as they take on the Chiefs D. Team Frank and Winless Wonders search for pride as Frank takes on my heavily favored privates, and the Wonders attempt to make playoff bound lottery bound. Serious Individual looks for the upset of the week as he takes on the number 1 seed Misfits, and in what could be a big difference maker as we creep towards the playoffs. Team Wilson at 3-4 takes on Team Ruxin at 4-3. Well, we got two big questions this week. Will Ruxin make another big bumbling mistake? And will that mistake cost him this week? Let's hope it does. Until next week, guys, good luck. Get those trades going because we're hitting the deadline soon. And as always, big waiver wire week. I myself have to pay Sidney Rice of the hated Seahawks. I'm hoping it doesn't bite me in the ass. Well, until next week, good luck. I'll see you then. Later, guys.